RuPaul Drag Race.
Hey, kitty girls. Welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race. It's Tuesday, January 19, 2021. We are covering season 13, episode number 3. Phenomenon.
Non.
Yeah.
Non.
For those of you that don't know who we are, my name is Gary, and with me is my ever fabulous co-host.
Hello, everyone. It's Damon. Welcome to the show.
So we're going to dive right in and talk about what just happened, or maybe didn't happen. Lots of people got opinions about the season already. I'm sure we'll get to that. You ready?
Yes.
Gentlemen, start your engines, and may the best woman win.
All right, put the pedal to the metal. Our overall thoughts on this episode. So, the lip sync losing squad
Episode 1.
are the focus of this episode. The very beginning is kind of like some chat amongst the queens, the winners. They congratulate Simone.
Yes.
Then they go de-drag and they disappear. New day, apparently. You know, birds flittering, tweeting, all that jazz. And this is when the other squad comes in. So, yeah. And then they act like it's not their first day. They all line up at the table. They all talking smack. Blah, blah, blah. Utica's got a heart on for some of the other queens.
They talking about them being the trade season of the trade of the season, and I don't want to say maybe, but maybe. Okay, one.
I don't know if I'd consider any of them on either team at the moment. Trade, but there's a lot of pretty boys.
Yes,
and I don't think of Trade as a pretty boy. But that's just me.
I hear you.
Probably because I like my Trade rough. So true story.
Yes.
I don't want to model, so that's not my gig. Yeah.
Ma'am.
So Damon, what's that?
I said, ma'am. Anyway. Go ahead.
Why don't you give us your thoughts on the show overall, the episode?
Sure. So overall, I kind of said losing is the new winning. Overall, as I think about this episode, I'm going to be honest with you. I like this one like 5 to 10 times better than I like the winners episode. Like, I look at your face and you're a little surprised, but I kind of like this episode. It kind of falls on a similar line, but the performance overall when they got on stage and did Phenomenon, I like that like 10 times better than the performance done in congratulations. Like, I like that better. I thought the runways, the walks were better. The Lady and the Vamp runway walks were better. And I think these girls are ready to bring it. I don't want to say more so than the winners per se, but one of the things that was mentioned, I think it was by Joey, or Denali, one of the two. There's this. They've faced this fire, as it were, and they've come through it, and I think it has lit that flame within them to kind of push them forward a lot more so than the winners who are now possibly coasting. I know we're early, but like it's something to kind of think about. Like they won, so maybe they think their shit don't stink. And don't get me wrong, there are some amazing queens in the winner's circle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong. I just feel like overall, I like this episode better. Now, the ending and what's going on, not so much, and we'll get into that. But I think overall, I like this episode better. I'm curious what your thoughts are, because you made some faces. You said your face said a lot. Your face said some things. So
Ooh, no, she better don't.
That's kind of what my face was saying. So I said losers to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really what this episode was about. They get their moment. I did not feel that this was better than the first group.
Okay.
The amount of squabbling, their amount of edited squabbling for 60 minutes of choreo, which I don't think was actually 60 minutes, or they had 60 minutes with cameras on, and then they had more time with cameras off. As we've, heard tales of. I just, Go
ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
let it out.
they were okay. They did all right. Kimura.
Oh,
Girl,
I mean,
we're gonna talk about you more later on.
yes, we are.
Yeah, I just, anyways. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by some, but I don't know. I think my problem is to make it fair, they basically did the same thing they did in the previous episode.
True.
The problem with that is we all knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew they were going to do 2 runway fashion things. We knew they were going to, do a choreographed, number with their own lyrics. We knew that they were going to then do a runway to a theme, luckily a different theme. And 2 queens were going to be considered the top. They were going to lip sync for the win. One of them wins. Everybody's safe. So I don't think I got as invested or excited, because it was just, it's not supposed to be, but it felt like a filler episode. And the queens didn't, take my breath away, steal the show. There were some pleasant surprises, but nobody, distracted me and made me want to say, oh, we best watch out.
That's fair. I think that's a very fair assumption. Or not assumption. I think that's a very fair assessment. Words are hard, y'all.
That's okay. I was surprised. I ended up watching the episode with some of my friends. They also were in your camp. They thought this was a better episode, even though they have very strong opinions about how things went. Overall, they just thought it was better, and I was like, okay, if y'all think so. I don't think it was that good. But
I don't think it was that good. Now, I will say, given what you're saying, kind of the predictability of it, that does kind of tone it down a bit. Mm-hmm. They did almost pretty much exactly the same thing they did last episode, and to be blunt, last season. Let's just call it what it is. Overall, though, I guess when I think about it, and I put 2 together, maybe it's just me, but maybe overall I like these girls more. Like maybe that's what it is. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't know what it. I can't like say like personality wise, like I like you and you like. But I just feel like when I balance the two teams together, like I like more of the girls in the losers circle than the winners. And it could also be, and I'm just going to put this out there to everyone else, there's that underdog syndrome, you know, where you want to root for and you're proud of, and you're wanting the underdog to win because everyone kind of feels that way. So that could be it too.
Well, they technically have something to prove because they all lost, so to speak. You know, they did not get to they did not reap the benefit of being in Rue's good graces, I guess is one way to say it.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, you know, being a contestant and being like, oh my gosh, I am close to, you know, no longer being in this competition, and I've barely like done anything. So that's where I guess maybe that's part of where my concern or my issue is. I don't think any of them really blew me away and measured up. For the fact that you didn't do well on your first foot out the door, nobody like course corrected in such a way that made me go, oh, okay. Like, you really shouldn't have been in this group.
That's fair. That's really fair, actually. No, sorry. I'm sitting here, I'm going back and I'm thinking about things. I'm like, there were a couple of like, oohs. Like, ooh, that's pretty, or ooh, that's nice, or ooh, look at that, or look at you go.
Right. There's definitely like little blips of like moments, but nobody came forward as a whole package and made me think you could replace Elliot. Or replace another queen from the first group. And so I do not disagree that perhaps the first group does have that shit don't stink mentality, and that's going to bite them in the ass. And some of them probably need it. But there's a couple of those in the second group, even though they're technically the losers. So,
yeah.
And one of them is on my nerve at the moment. Well, because I've seen the episode, 2 times, 3 times now? And I'm like, Denali, take a seat, girl. Like, you're power tripping, and it does not help that you won. I'm just saying. She wants to be she wants to be the dance captain. She wants to be the choreographer. She wants to be the lead. She's got like all these ideas, and she's highly competitive.
Oh,
that's great, girl. Do you have any Olympic gold medals? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Right. So I'm like, yeah. And
no, I feel you on that, like, totally. And
and I will say this, because it's not going to be discussed probably later. Tamisha Iman, girl, better get a fire under your ass. Like, this episode focused on you a lot, but you didn't bring the energy. Like, you've got poise, you've got grace, you've got beauty, you've got fashion sense. Like, you presented some really good parts of a package. But I don't know why you're being so reserved. Like, I get that you're like, I'm going to let these young things, these puppies, like, yip around and play or whatever. And it's great that you're maternal. It's good, you know, that you've got some of these queens looking up to you. But I need you to step into it, which is part of the critique that she got.
Yep.
So, and I'm hoping that your hair gets better as the season goes on.
To be sure.
Yes.
Sorry. Jim just
had a comment.
No, he mentioned so FYI everyone, when you become a Rue girl, like people go through the archives and find shit and then they put them on YouTube. So there have been several videos of Miss Tamisha Iman during her pageants that have been showing up on YouTube, and one of them is from her talent performance in 1996.
Okay.
We've mentioned she's an old girl, and
right.
One of the things that is part of this is obviously no one knew her name, so she had to say it in the song, and she had to say it in the song like 100 times. Like it's all over this fucking song or this talent track, and it's cute like the first 10-15, but at a point it's definitely stuck in your head. So I know who she is.
Okay.
And I will never forget the song. I will never forget the way they said it. And
yeah.
We have made a brand with our name and our family and our dynasty, and that's wonderful. But
right.
Girl.
Well, let's recognize that for the moment. I was so happy that Tamisha Iman's legacy of her dynasty, of her family, was brought up and discussed, because I wondered from the moment her name was said, I was like, oh, is she related to? And then they discussed it in this episode, and they put the clip in several times, because it's probably free on YouTube or some shit.
I mean, true.
And it's one of the most infamous entrances ever in a pageant talent portion.
Good God, yes.
For a show, I was shocked that my friends who I was watching it with have never seen the video, did not know about it, and one of them used to produce drag contests and pageants and shows for years. So I was like, how do you not know?
How do you not know? How do you not know?
Yeah.
Like, I can understand, like, some of you not knowing, but you, and I know who you're talking about, but like,
yeah,
but like you, like, because that is infamous. That, yes.
Yeah. So
anyway,
so Tandy Iman Dupree getting the recognition, the shout out, Tamisha Iman's daughter, I thought was awesome. There was also a little heart moment. I don't know how many people kind of paid attention or picked up on it when Tamisha talked about that most of her family has passed on. So there's a lot to be presumed about that, but given, what our community has had to live with, epidemics and things, I think that's, kind of the way that was referenced. Don't know for sure, but yeah. So I mean, that was one thing. And what I was more happy about was that the young queens knew who the hell her daughter was.
Yeah.
Joey J, like going apoplectic in front of the mirror, like not sure how to process being in the presence of greatness. Like, because I would have felt that way as well. Like, I would have given a lot to just give Tamisha a hug and be like, girl, let's sit down. Let's have tea. Like, let's talk. Tell me everything about her and that time and how that came about and stuff. But
because I would want, that's part of what I want to know. And I know it sounds bad, but I want to know the not the like literal gymnastics, but like the gymnastics of how we made this whole thing work. When it was, how much padding she had down there, because she hit that floor. So Yeah, just those are things I would want to know and to have like that perspective, because given what we've heard of Tamisha, more than likely it was Tamisha who choreographed that number.
Quite possibly.
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that she's the one that either choreographed it or helped Tandy, or maybe whatever. It's possible.
Right. So yeah.
But okay.
You ready to move on to the next part?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
Cover girl, put the bass in your walk. Cover girl.
All right, children, it's time to stomp the runway. Theme or category, same thing, is we're here, we're sheer, get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a new theme to the runway. Looks. Damon, what did you think?
Let me go through this real quick. And I put down two things, actually. The first one being, Tamisha better look out.
Okay.
Because I think Rue wanted that dress. I think for a second, Rue wanted that dress. I thought it was a very pretty dress. There were some very awesome, like, sheer looks, and kind of like the LeMay challenge beforehand. It was very interesting the way that they, like, people took the interpretation. Mm-hmm. Like, there's which I kind of like. It's a broad enough category that it can lend itself to interpretation. Mm-hmm. So I was a fan of Tamisha's look. There were a couple of others, but Rose, we have a problem. Girl, that was ugly. Like, point blank period. That was ugly. I don't know where you were going. I don't quite understand it. I don't know if you made it yourself or if you had someone made it, if you had a designer make that for you. I want a refund. Cause that just, I got the idea. You were using like the plastic as like the sheer, cause it, you can see through plastic. Or like cellophane or whatever. But the ruffles didn't really go with it. The ruffles were too big and too, I'm going to use the word ostentatious. I don't know if that's the right word, but they were just big and massive, and it did not go well for me. I did not like it. I didn't like it. They just were too big, and it just didn't work for me. Mm-hmm. And what didn't help was the proportions in other places were wrong. Like, it felt like I needed either a bigger hair or something to kind of go with this big ruffly thing at the end of your hands, and to go with this outfit. That it just all kind of mismatched together. It felt to me like, I will admit, when you took the ruffles off while you were performing, spoiler alert, like, I liked what it looked like better, because I wasn't so distracted.
Right.
Not saying it was bad. I just was like, I mean, it wasn't good. Let me just put it like that. I'm just saying it was kind of, it wasn't as much of a train wreck. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So there's that. How about you?
So I said some yes, some meh. Rosé's is a meh. Like, I still think it's a struggle bus to call it sheer.
True.
Her description is that it's hand-dyed plastic. Girl, I don't care if it's like artisan craft, like Etsy plastic. Like,
it's still plastic.
It didn't seem sheer. to me. And I would never probably think of plastic as sheer.
And
I would think of it as transparent or opaque, but I would probably not think of it as sheer.
Yeah. And I would have put it like this: if it had been like plastic, like molded or something like that, kind of sheer-ish looking, I might have been okay with it. But it was behind this on this like white or cream colored fabric that really took away from the whole sheer element. And maybe you're, not trying to show off body. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. But like it just didn't mesh well. I needed something else, like either something removed, like remove the sleeves and make it like if you could make the gown out of plastic or the outfit out of like not necessarily a sheer plastic, but like a transparent plastic, I might have been more into it than you kind of blocking the sheerness with the white.
Right. I'm going to say it because this is how I feel. I also think that Denali's was meh. I did not think it was sheer. It was kind of amorphous. It didn't really have a shape. The nude panel coming down the front was confusing to me because I didn't think it was necessary.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it right now. Denali, I get it. You're a figure skater. Let's come up with some other silhouettes, please. Please. I mean, your outfit in the number was one of the better ones that I've seen for you.
Yeah. Joey J. I'm still mixed on this. That look.
Okay.
Because I think my problem is I would have liked it better if it had other colors. I found it difficult to tell what the cut and the design was because it was all black. So, like, if it wasn't for the fact that she's a dancer and she knows how to pop a leg out, I wouldn't have caught that the middle part from the waist down was like a straight cut. Do you know what I mean? So I think I would have liked it better if it had been ombre, if it had like pieces that were different colors, like to give it some contrast. I get that it was meant to evoke Liza Minnelli in some fashion because she's considered like one of the glittery, sparkly, kind of fringy queen things. In terms of like entertainers when you think of that stuff. But my problem is, like, your outfit kind of made me think of one of the funniest scenes in any movie I've ever seen. It makes me laugh every single time that I see it. But that's not what the runway theme was. First of all, you are not Whoopi Goldberg. Second of all, it is not a blue dress. And third of all, this is not Jumpin' Jack Flash. And you're not having your sequin dress be eaten by a paper shredder. That scene cracks my ass up every single time I see it because it's just stupid and it's ridiculous. And she goes in with an evening gown and comes out with a cocktail dress. And, but that's like, these strips, like it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the look. I just was.
Yeah. Like Jim and I were actually talking about it that night and I was very much like, I don't like this, but I don't hate this.
Right.
It's kind of
Yeah. Utica. I really like Utica, but the reason I like Utica is because she's very different. She's kind of unforgettable. As I think Trixie said in the pit stop, she's in the same kind of like camp as Evie Oddly, Crystal Method. Who's the third one? I'm forgetting. It just went out of my head. But she's part of that kooky camp, like Katya comes to mind from time to time. You know, these queens that are kind of avant-garde, you know, like really going out there and taking a risk, but like having a defined like aesthetic about them. Like I never expect to see something that Utica wears and be like, oh, that's predictable. Like, yes, I can understand that it's something I'm not expecting, but that's like about the only thing that would be expected. Because she really like, so for example, in the, you know, the two looks for the fashion thing, the very first one, I was like, okay, like I was a little confused why we have like a bubble gun when our outfit is actually all balls. But it made more sense if it was with the Nerf gun with the ball that attached with the string. But anyways, but you know, like it was fun. And then she went really dark for the nighttime vamp look. And I thought that was way more fashion, but it was definitively very different and, to me, unexpected. So I was like, okay, you know, so she's one that, you know, like I want to see how stuff goes. And I think she did decent in the performance, but yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the focus was on Tamisha. I will say that I thought her gown was really pretty. I really loved how the first time I saw it, it really looked to me like her dress portion from the waist down. It almost looked like it was sheer ombre, if that even makes sense. Like I could definitively see like her shoes, her feet, her ankles. And as I went up to her waist, I saw less and less, which I thought was like an amazing, like cool kind of look. And then I realized later looking upon like the second viewing, I'm like, no, they're like the sheer fabric is over other fabric. So like from the waist up, she has other fabric underneath, because there's a moment when there's kind of a close up and she shifts her left shoulder or her left arm. And I can see like where the fabric is underneath and then the sheer overlay. And that's not a criticism. It's just like an observational point. So then I realized like, oh, the bottom half isn't actually quite what I thought it was. It's all sheer, but probably because of how the fabric's gathered or whatever. Undergarments and all that. But anyways, I mean, like she deservedly so, you know, got the praise. I agree with you, you know, that Rue probably wants that outfit. So I imagine she got a hold of Zaldi and was like, when you see this queen's dress, I want you to figure out how to make something like that, only to my proportions. So it'll have, you know, one shoulder nipped at the waist, probably a big ass bow, you know, her traditional silhouette and look. So, Rose. Yeah. Just
we talked about her. We
I
don't
know,
talk about her anymore.
just not a fan. Yeah. So, I mean, this group, I was kind of like, okay, like, you know, they brought stuff, like nothing really blew me away. In that case. So, you know, some I think met the criteria of the theme.
Sheer. I will admit,
so
while I like Kimura's look, because it definitely fell into the theme like all the way. I mean, that sounds bad. I say fell in, but you know, anyway.
No. So the reason why I'm laughing is because I completely forgot I forgot about Kimura, not what Kimura wore. I completely forgot about her, and we're gonna get to that later. She came out, and I was like, "Oh, okay, very good, very good." You got.
We're glad that you're here.
Right, you got the thing,
the memo.
Yeah, so you know what to wear. That hair was too much.
Yes, Queen. Yes, I was going to say like that hair, y'all. I mean, I know it. I guess that's your signature. If that's your signature,
it's a problem. It made her look like a bobblehead, and it was. I think there was something going on with it. It definitely, I think, is three pieces. I think it's a middle, and a side and a side, and her right side looked like it was coming. Like, I could see a definitive, like, kind of part line. It was weird. Like, I don't know what was happening over here. And I don't know if the black roots were necessary either.
Well, you know, I don't know. I was going to say, that's a thing.
I know it's a style. There's times when it's appropriate. Are you doing Lita Ford and an Ozzy Osbourne duet? Absolutely, girl. Rock that shit out. RuPaul's Drag Race fashion runway for sheer, not so much. If you want to have like roots and you want to have an ombre, how about we try another color than black? How about we try, I don't know, brown? Like something else. Dark blonde. I don't know. You know, anyways. So.
Yeah.
You know, like, so from the neck down, yay, Kimora. Beautiful outfit, beautiful, like, presentation. Girl, lose those hubcaps. I don't ever want to see him again. Redunculous. You are tiny, and I can't even call them door knockers. You were right when you called them hubcaps, girl. Stupid.
How you really feel, Gary?
They were stupid. I didn't like them. Not at all. They were just too much. They were overbearing. Like, all the attention. Her outfit is so beautiful, but you know where the eyes went? They went to these big, huge silver hoopy things and that hair. Like, it was right here. Like,
agreed.
And I'm like, why? Why? You're a sample size. You're a tiny little, like, toothpick of a thing. Like, you're so slim. And you can carry well. Like, you can present a garment well. Although, that is the criticism the judges talked about.
Mm-hmm. Let's, speaking of which, let's get into that. Maybe. I mean, yes.
Are you saying that you would like to move on?
Sure thing.
So, next up, we've got... I gotta play the clip. Hang on. Whoa! I'm so worked up I can't even hit the right button.
I know, right?
All right, girl. Snaps and eye rolls, hits and misses, highs and lows in the episode. Damon, who are you going to give snaps to?
So I am providing snaps to all the pork chop queens. So this kind of goes back to what I said originally about how I did overall like this episode a bit more. So kudos to the girls for getting knocked down a couple of times in this like first couple of episodes, and you know, coming back and doing what they're doing. You know, let's just put all the cards out on the table. You arrive into the thing. You are suddenly thrust onto the, you know, main stage. You then are interviewed by the judges. And then you have to lip sync for your life. Like, so boom, 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 boom. And then you lost the lip sync. And you're put in sequester again. Wait, let's just call it what it is. And from there, excuse me, you have to vote another girl off. And you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it just once. You have to do it twice because there's a tie. Allegedly. Yeah. And then you have to, you know, send that person home. And then, depending on when they did that, you wait until you're brought back in to do your basically side of the episode. So that's a lot. And so kudos to the queens for dealing with all of that and then coming out and to me doing a very stellar performance. I like the phenomenon, like I said, better than congratulations. And all of the bickering and whatever that came about during the choreography rehearsal, whether that was actual or edited, I get it. You still brought a very good, fun, entertaining performance. Kind of like, I think if I remember last season, I liked the first set of girls' performance better than the second set of girls. This one, I like the second set of girls' performance better than the first one. And I don't know if that had to do with what they went through, but kudos to them for their performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give snaps to Rosé.
Okay.
But it's probably not what anybody thinks.
Uh-oh.
So I'm giving snaps to Rosé's transformation from guy to lass.
Oh.
The reason why I say lass is because in her lyrics, apparently Rosé is telling us that she's Scottish or Scotch-Irish because she talks about being a bonny lass. And I was like, oh, all right. Like, I didn't know that about you. But what I do know is every time he is in confessional, I stare at that hair and that face and those frickin' caterpillar eyebrows every time. And I'm like, you a hairy mofo. But when it's Rosé that's presented, every time I'm telling you, Damon, I'm like, wow, you really like turn it. Like, look at that lady. And I will say this, when Rosé had her part of the number, she did really good and pulled off an American Idol moment with her like final note. It seemed like effortless, like graceful perhaps. I was like, oh shit. When the bitch says she can sing, the bitch can sing. She's like, she's not lying.
She wasn't lying.
She was not lying about that. So I was like while you have a little bit of ego about yourself, and I'll grant you this, that all the New York City queens have that about them. That just seems to be like par for the course.
No.
And in a city of millions, where getting a gig can be hard fought, to have a recurring hosting gig can be difficult. I can understand why, like, you got a little fight in you. Like, you got some competition about you. Like, you got, region, jurisdiction, whatever. And so that I'll grant all that. Fine, whatever. But you know what Rosé is not? She's not Denali. Like, and by that I mean annoying the fuck out of me. So I like, if Denali goes home in the first half of the season, I'll be like, bye girl. Unless she chills the hell out. But she just annoyed me in this episode. Rosé strikes me as someone who's much more like, I don't want to say calculating, but like thoughtful about the competition and is willing to like slowly work to get to the end. Like, I think that's what it is. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And Denali struck me as like, girl, it's track and field. I got to get the 100 meter. I got to get it now. Crown me. Like, give me the gold medal. And I'm like, I ain't got time for you. Because this is only episode 3, girl. We got lots more to go. And Rosé, is someone who strikes me as like willing to like, kind of like try to last for the entire marathon. I will say though, like her performance, the group number was really good. Her fashion runway stuff was better than her actual runway at the end of this show. So, like, I don't know what happened. I'm waiting to hear if it comes out this year, 7 years from now when the NDA expires. I don't know, that this outfit was not meant to be the sheer outfit and it was a last minute backup pick. And that's why we got what we got.
Maybe.
Because it's just off enough that I'm like, girl, are you trying to convince us that this is sheer? Because I'm not really buying it.
Is it sheer? It's sheer. It's sheer. It's totally sheer. Like you can see right through it. It's sheer. No. Okay.
Because if that's the case and you're trying to sell me, I'll be like, listen, Derek Barry, I don't give a shit how many hems are in the outfit. Still not good enough. But that's not that. This is snaps. So Rosé's transformation.
Go ahead.
Into Rosé is pretty astonishing for me specifically because like how much glue stick you go through, girl? Like when you got bushes, you gotta like.
I bet. I want to look at I'd have to look because I think I saw that she did a Cosmo Queens, like one of those quick. Like if you go on YouTube and look up Cosmo Queens, there's like quick drag. It's drag queens, and some of them have been, on Drag Race, but some of them have not. And I think Rosé and Candy were actually on a Cosmo Queens thing before they were on Drag Race. But anyway, but there's one of her, and I remember watching it, and I'm curious what she uses to block out her brows, or at least glue them down, because she might not be using glue sticks. She might be using Prozaid.
She could be.
Like
I mean, a number of queens over the years have used different things. And some of them have admitted that they're using things that aren't supposed to be used that way. It could be toxic to your eyes, so who knows?
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch the episode to see if she's using the purple glue stick. But for me, like Snaps was like how drastic the transformation is. She's got this mop of hair. She's got these big eyebrows. She's got stubble practically 24/7. Like what cracked me up, I think, if I remember correctly, was Joey J was the one who said that she had to take a straight a quick disposable razor because she was already coming through her makeup.
Well, I know for a fact that Rosé color corrects.
Well, that's true because she turns herself into a freaking star-kissed orange. Holy cow! Because in front of the mirror, I was like, "Ooh."
and I sit there and I wonder, like, wow, that is a lot, but there's probably a reason for it.
Well, she covers it up.
Clock it.
Yeah,
you can't clock that 5 o'clock shadow. No, ma'am. No, you can't. No, you can't. But I will. I'm sorry. I'm the person who tries the trivia stuff. She was born in Scotland.
Okay.
She was born in Scotland, but immigrated to New York at age 10.
Okay.
There you go.
So she's Scottish.
Correct. There you go.
Okay. So let's move on to
eye rolls.
Well, I mean, we're both eye rolling in the same direction, apparently, for the most part. So why don't you start with the latter half, and then?
Okay, sure. So I'm giving slight eye rolls, maybe just a little side eye, maybe not a full eye roll, to the unformulaic formula that we have experienced.
Okay.
I think you and I talked about this on Sunday before podcast. I am feeling the kind of ways about how here we are at 3 episodes and we're kind of back to the beginning. This feels very similar to what happened last season, where you had 2 groups of queens and no one went home. And then we had the whole like confrontation because we see, you know, if you see the preview, like that's kind of what's happening. And I mean, granted, it wasn't a confrontation, blah blah blah. It probably won't be a confrontation this time, but whatever. Like, it feels similar. And I said this on Sunday. This kind of feels like a waste of 3 episodes, in a sense. Only because, yes, we've changed some things around. Like there's the tops and the bottoms and da-da-da-da-da, and girls sit home, and it was a little different. But at the end of the day, we got to where we're at, which is the same place we would have been if we had done what we usually do and had all the girls come in and done like something. Like like I don't like it so much. And that's why I said unformulaic formula. So some things are different, but it's kind of the same. And I know you're saying, like you said on Sunday, like people asked for something different and we got something different, but is it really that different though?
I think it's different enough. I will say this is the one criticism I've seen consistently online is that a bunch of people are pissed that nobody's gone home yet and it's been 3 episodes. And I really get this impression that people want that drama, quote unquote, of like send a bitch home. Like it's a competition. And I'm like, I understand that to a point, but I'm like, do you know what I got this season? I got to know all the queens. All of them. All 13 of these bitches. I know who these queens are. Now you can send their asses home. Like, I've invested enough time to know who the ones are that annoy me, who the ones that are not necessarily as talented, who are the ones that
If you haven't figured it out yet, one of the girls that annoys him is Denali. Like, if you haven't figured it out in this episode, just saying.
Listen. I'm just saying. She's still a little too big for her britches for her first episode. You know what I just realized is missing? Bitch, I'm going to serve you up a piece of humble pie because you haven't had any. I am not getting that from you.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm not getting that from you.
Smack you in the face with that humble pie. Like,
I'll shove it in your mouth. I don't care. I might mess your makeup up while I do it, but so what? Probably should have put some setting spray on your face. But but so you know, it's a personality thing at the moment. And I think what I'm worried about is that there's going to be more of it in the episodes to come. I want to be like, you know, I might have to load the "get her Jade" like, you know, sound effect if she starts getting into issues with one of the other queens and they start like, anyways. But yeah, there are some queens who, like, you know, now I kind of know the lay of the land. Like, I have a feel for all of them. I kind of see brands evolving, concepts. I have desires from some. I have like hopes for others, you know.
Okay.
So I'm good. Like, I now I feel like, yes, let the competition begin. Because you know what I don't really do? I do not really invest preseason and watch every blessed video, interview, like, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Describe yourself in one word. Like, I don't really get into all that. So the show to me is like where you truly present yourself. Not when you've been polished, like, because it's like X number of episodes after the beginning of the season or whatever, you know, blah, blah, blah. Or after the entire season is over. And then you can present yourself in a lovely gown that you've had, you know, put together, or an outfit by a designer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
So I'm okay with the 3 episodes. I can understand people's frustration that they wanted a bitch to go home. But I'm good with it now. I agree. Let's get on with the show. Like,
yeah,
for the season.
I think, okay, I'll put it like this. I think a lot of us are used to reality TV shows and the formula of sending someone home every week or whatever, and then maybe someone getting a redemption and coming back, blah, 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 blah. Like, we all know that one. And we know that tried and true method usually works. So I think some of us are kind of used to that and would have expected that in this show. I personally, and this is going to be bad, it's going to sound bad, but I would have been okay if Elliot went home and actually went home. Like, I don't know yet. Like, I loved her in the episode. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like I would have, okay, if the episode had done what I thought it would have done, like if there had been like the two queens and then someone got sent home kind of thing, and then they actually went home, and we got the next, like this next part was like the winners kind of doing their thing without Elliot. Like, let's take her out of it. I think there's a part of me that would have been like, okay, that makes sense. And then at the end of that episode, we got notice of the girls that were in the bottom, like, you will be coming into the competition because you did what you were supposed to do. And the next episode is their, like, what they did in their episode. I guess I would have been okay with it only because that's what I know. Like, if you watch, like, Big Brother, Survivor, those kind of shows, like, sometimes that has happened where within, like, minutes of the start of the episode, someone goes home. Like, they don't get the they don't get to compete. They don't get to do anything. They don't get to win a challenge. They don't get to do this, that, and the other. They're literally like, sorry, you don't even get to make it to the islands. I mean, it sucks, but that's the rules. Like, right. So that would have been a twist, and I would have been like, holy shit. Like, but again, it sucks, but it makes sense in my head, like, why it would have happened. Would it have been a good thing? Like, let me, like, would it have been a good thing? I don't know. But it's going to be interesting, I will say that much, coming into this next episode with the pork chop queens coming into the winner's circle, and guess who's in the winner's circle? Like, I'm very curious how that's going to look like. And I will give the show this much. While I called it unformulated formula, bitch, I'm watching.
Right.
And I'm not. Yeah.
The only thing I want to say about what, in response to what you just said, is I think the distinction of this show versus all the other shows that are like reality competitions is that this is a platform for people to launch a career, like,
True.
of longevity. I don't know of any other of these other reality shows that we are launching a career of longevity. You're a reality show contestant. You're in a house. You're traveling the world. You're, like, competing in ridiculous, like, little, like, competition, like, games or whatever. Bitch, I don't ever expect to see you again. I'm not paying money to go see your ass somewhere. So to me, that is a distinctive difference, and I guess that's where I'm willing to put up with 3 episodes to establish who these queens are, because Ru is making an investment in them of giving them the opportunity to truly launch to a whole other level of a career. Will some of them do it? Yes. Will some of them fall or fail or go in another direction? Most likely.
Probably.
We're at 166 queens now or something. So
something like that.
Yeah.
Some have faded into the background or faded away.
Some have left doing drag and now do OnlyFans and are apparently very popular at that. So,
Well, okay. That one, I believe, maybe still does drag. But I don't think they do it nearly as much. But I could be wrong.
Oh.
I could be totally wrong. I could be wrong.
I was
I
under
would
the
wanna find
impression,
out.
the one I'm thinking of, the one I was under the impression that they had completely left drag behind.
It's entirely possible. I mean,
And has been far more
you got-
successful as their like male entertainer career. So
I mean, true. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, they look good. I'm just saying.
all right, let's move to the other things that don't look good. What's your other eye roll?
So I wrote down Kimura's drag walk.
Okay.
And the drag walk in quotations is the whole notice, like, apparently Kimura takes 5 to 6 hours to get in face in Chicago, and she's known for that. And here we are at Drag Race, and we're having issues with her not being ready, to the point of, in the episode, there's this whole like, oh, is she going to actually walk the runway? Oh no, scandalo. I mean, she ended up doing it. She just went out of order, but whatever. It's just very interesting to me how this is a thing. Of all the things that have ever been on Drag Race, one of the things I've never thought would be a thing was you not knowing how to paint your face in less than an hour. Like, let me just be like blunt. Like, and I'm thinking about think about what we were talking about with Rosé and all the stuff that she had to do to get ready, like to put on like color correction and everything. Those things take time, and she beats them up pretty freaking good. And it astounds me about that. And to kind of add on to it, I was not a fan of the theatrics, the weeping kind of thing going on, the concern. You got some critiques, and you got some pretty harsh critiques, but they were accurate. So let's just call it what it is. You call yourself the Mackie doll. Like, if that is your tagline, you are literally calling yourself a fashion accessory. So what
Right.
that says a lot. And I get it. You're beautiful. And your quick, drag face on runway was still very nice. Not the runway, but the fashion shoot, whatever. Was very nice, considering you almost didn't get to do it, so allegedly. But I need to see more. And given what I have seen so far, if there had been a bottom for this episode and you went home, I would have been okay with that. I would have been totally fine with it. Because I have yet to see that you can perform really well. And I don't get a like they mentioned, I don't get a sense of personality from you. I get a very standard model and look pretty, and that's all I get. Gary?
Well, what I wrote was Cabor Hall. Girl, you're boring AF. The fact that they had to show the drama line for the first time in 13 seasons about a queen not being able to paint herself in time for production. Like, we have railed for nearly every year we've done this about a bitch not knowing how to sew. Now we've got a new standard in a bitch not being able to paint herself in time. So, you know, bitches can't sew, can't dance, can't sing, can't paint. Like, can't paint in time, I guess I should say. So, yeah, high criticisms are deserved for her when, you know, Michelle Visage says, you know, like, she's just a coat hanger. Like, you know, she just can't present looks. And there's a part of me that's like, how far are you falling off a pedestal, girl? Like, has Chicago built you up as, like, this look queen, and you're just so beautiful that people forgive these other, like, things that aren't going to measure up in this competition?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if she's not one that's ever really done choreography, then that says that she does a lot of park and bark, or she does a lot of ballads. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just like, did you not know what you were getting into?
I don't know. And I want to, like, I'm just very, very curious. Again, I want to like look something up really quickly, because normally I can find, like, as I mentioned, like, a lot of things that show up. There's a lot. The girls get, you know, when they get famous, like, stuff shows up on YouTube. So I just typed in Kimora Hall on YouTube, and there are several lip syncs. So I'm not going to watch one now, but I'm very curious about. There's a few here, and I'm very curious how those go, because this is, you know, to me, these are like, this isn't Drag Race. This is you doing your thing.
Right.
So I'm curious how that works.
Yeah.
So far as I'm looking, just as the little, like, quick blurb that when you cover over a video on YouTube, there's at least some movement. But I'm just curious. I will say this. The songs that she's doing in these things, I'm gonna want to see something, because okay, here we go. I'm calling it like it is. Let's just do this. The 3 songs that are listed, the first ones that come up, it's her doing "I'm Your Baby Tonight" by Whitney Houston, her doing "New Attitude" by Patti LaBelle. I'm going to assume it's Patti LaBelle. And then "Nobody's Supposed to Be Here" by Deborah Cox.
Okay.
If what I saw on Drag Race is representative of you as a drag queen, I expect these to be trash. Like, I'm just going to call it like it is. Just saying. Because these are, like, drag staples. And they're also numbers where you move and emote.
Right.
And I saw neither of those things. I've seen neither of those things so far from you. Pull that hair back, just off the shoulder.
Well, with that said, that's pretty much another episode of Cubs Out Loud Drag Race.
Bitch.
This is what you tuned in for. And if you want to be in touch with us, there's plenty of ways to do that. You could go to our website, blogcomesOutloud.com. You can shoot us an email at comesOutloud@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call and leave a voicemail message and tell us how much you agree, how much you disagree, or how much you want to kiki with Damon and I. That number to call is 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. Pretty much anywhere online you can type in Comes Out Loud as one word. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and you will find us on there. If you want to join the Entourage chat on the Telegram messaging service, you go to tinyurl.com /telegram-COLDR. If you would like to know about what's happening with us when we're going to record our regular shows that are going to be done live, you can go to tinyurl.com /calendar-COL. If you would like to support us, there's several ways to do that. One of them is you could buy yourself a fabulous little item over at Zazzle.com /CubsOutLoud. Perhaps you would like a shirt that's drag queen pride inspired. You could have a fabulous shirt like Damon and I are wearing tonight that says "Consent is my foreplay" with a nice lovely crown and the drag pride colors. You could pick up something else there if you wanted something else, or you get the whole collection. We've got 6 of these now, I think, in designs. Maybe it's 5. So you could also become a patron over at patreon.com /CubsOutLoud for a minimum of $1 a month. There are various benefits, including you get access to the full versions that include what I call the bookends, the pre-show and the post-show kind of conversation stuff. Or you could, get other things as well. We have other benefits to provide for our patrons. And if that's not your gig, we understand. If you want, you can just send us some money and we would be glad to take your tips, honey. You can go to paypal.me /CubsOutLoud and you could just drop a little coin on a dresser and we'll be quite happy with that as a one-time donation to the cause. If you would like to rate us on iTunes, we would expect 5 stars because we are that fabulous. Thank you very much. Along with a comment, we would be happy to read it out loud. Or anywhere pretty much that you get a podcast, you can rate us and subscribe, obviously. We would love it. And on YouTube, you can obviously subscribe and click that bell like everybody does. Damon, if they want to get in touch with you online, where would they find you?
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me on most bear-related sites as TheaterCup79, or you can find me as pup_Umbra on YouTube. No, on Twitter. I've talked about YouTube a lot tonight.
That's okay.
But that Twitter is definitely not safe for work. It is a wonderful mix of porn and drag and anime and porn and more porn and
kink.
Yeah. And kink. Yeah, and kink.
It's quite the melting pot.
It is.
If you would like to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as Gerber73. Specifically, I have a Twitter account, Gerber73Drag, DRAG, where I follow the girls and see things. And then I either share them with the Telegram chat or I send them directly to Damon for things that come up. So that is episode number 3 in the can. We thank you for listening and or watching tonight. And we were a little delayed due to personal scheduling to record this week. We should be back to our normal time next week to discuss the next episode when dun dun dun
the Queens collide.
Yes, the losers and the winners gather together, and we're curious to see how much fallout there's going to be because Elliot with 2 T's is still in the competition. So we'll see how it plays out.
Bye.
Girl.
I just realized I went on ahead and just mentioned that the entourage or the Drag Race Entourage chat can discuss the most recent episode.
I realized that we never told them they could technically discuss it Sunday night.